Welcome to a Cruising with Ted video production featuring Shelby Gerst, Sales Development Manager for Rocky Mountaineer.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard. My name is Ted Krabowski. You might know me as Cruisin with Ted. We do have a lot of Facebook groups out there. We actually have 30 Facebook groups and a Facebook page and so forth. We'll tell you more about that later. Today, we have the privilege of speaking to a representative of the Rocky Mountaineer. That's Mr. Shelby Gerst. He's the Sales Development Manager for Rocky Mountaineer, and that's me, Ted Krabowski. I'm president of Cruisin with Ted. So at this point, without any further ado, we're going to turn this over to Mr. Gerst, who's going to tell us all about the exciting train journeys that are ahead of you that if you haven't been on Rocky Mountaineer, I think you're going to be in for an amazing experience. And there's some more expansion news that I didn't know about, so he's going to tell you about that. So Shelby, go ahead, take it away, sir. You're the train. What do they call? What's the name of the guy that runs the train, Shelby?
Oh, today you can call me your conductor, your engineer, whatever you prefer.
Okay, Shelby's our conductor for this lovely event. Go ahead, Mr. Gerst.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ted. So happy to be here with Cruisin with Ted and all of his colleagues here. And welcome to the world of Rocky Mountaineer. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So just give me 1 second to get that ready. And like they said, everybody, please put any questions you have into the chat. You should be able to see my screen now. I've already seen a couple questions in there, and we'll get to a couple of those, and we'll answer any questions you have at the end. But once again, welcome to a journey like no other on board Rocky Mountaineer. So we are, with us, you really are going to experience the extraordinary. For over 30 years, Rocky Mountaineer has been taking guests on captivating journeys through the Canadian Rockies, and now in the American Southwest with our new Rockies to the Red Rocks experience. When you're on board Rocky Mountaineer, you only have a couple jobs. That's really to sit back and relax in your heated, spacious seat if you're in Gold Leaf service, enjoy the scenery and amazing food that's served right to your seat or in the dining car in Gold Leaf, and really listen to your hosts tell captivating stories about the areas that you're traveling through. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what a day on the Rocky Mountaineer is like.
Not hearing the sound so much, but maybe.
No sound.
Yeah, there's no any sound at this time, but if that's okay with you, I'm fine with it.
I'm not sure why it's not sharing, but we'll look at the pictures and we'll just enjoy it.
You might want to make it bigger on the screen, and if it's possible, but that looks fine.
Somebody is saying that they're not seeing the presentation, they're only seeing Ted on their screen.
What about you, Mary Pat? Do you see his presentation?
I see it in a very small screen in the upper left corner. I see you.
Oh, well, let's try that one more time if we're not seeing the right screen, because we definitely want to see it nice and big.
Yeah.
There you go. That looks like it'll be better, but you're still up, but you're in the corner because they have it listed as seeing that. Yes.
All right. Well, that was strange to share it that way. So apologies about that.
Any way to get any sound pumped in there?
I don't know why the sound is not working. Zoom does not want to cooperate today. So
well, can you sing? Are you a talented artist or?
I don't know if we want to scare the people away. We're really here to talk about the experience on board Rocky Mountaineer and not make
okay.
So. We can share the video links with you guys because they are amazing videos. The sound.
Yeah, we could do that.
So I apologize about that, but we'll share the links on the Facebook page and you can see them.
This is Zoom, man. I mean, you're doing great.
So, didn't mean to hit that button. So we're going to now walk through what a day on board Rocky Mountaineer is like. So welcome aboard. You're going to join us at our Vancouver station where you're going to be all checked in and our train hosts are going to meet you. We're going to check all your tickets. And before you know it, it is time to get on the train. So if you're experiencing our Canadian product, you will have some Canadian flags there. And of course, some US flags for our US route. But it's a great time to take some pictures. We roll out the red carpet for you as to join, and our hosts are there to do anything that you would like, as well as take those pictures. Before you know it, we are getting on board the train, and you are going to start off your morning with a beverage service and some pastries. So we'll pass out juice, coffee, teas, and if anybody likes to indulge in an adult beverage, we can give you a mimosa in the morning because all food and drinks are included when you're on the train. Before you know it, you are going to be listening to stories by our host. We talked about it in the opening, the captivating stories told by our host. So throughout your journey, the hosts are going to get on the microphone and tell you interesting facts about the geography and the terrain that you're going through, any historical facts, and just any fun facts that you travel through, and as long as all the scenery that are coming up. The best part that I like about it is they also have a headset in their ear, so if anybody spots any wildlife along the journey, all the hosts will be notified and they will tell you. A funny story from my last trip is I was just up there a couple weeks ago, and they were getting ready to do a wine and cheese pairing in the afternoon. So our host was going through the wines. She was listening what there was going to be, what we were going to have, and all of a sudden she just yells out, "Bear on the right," and points that way. So we all jump up out of our seats, run over, and what do you know? We saw a bear right along the track. So be ready. You might get scared because they do yell. She was very excited, but it is very exciting to see any wildlife along the side of Rocky Mountaineer. Another thing you want to make sure you bring your camera, because as you can see through the windows, we have giant panoramic windows on our rail cars, and you definitely want to capture those moments and remember them and really take the pictures to make your friends and kids jealous. Before you know it, it is going to be lunchtime. This is a picture of some of the lunch that is served on board. In our gold leaf cars, the lunch is prepared feet away from you in a galley while you're sitting in the dining car. And in Silverleaf, there's a galley there, and you are going to be served at your seat, which we'll go over later. But the food is delicious and just beautiful. All gourmet service on board Rocky Mountaineer. And of course, bring your phone or your camera, because again, we want to take those pictures, put them on Instagram, put them on Facebook in the Cruisin with Ted group, and really send them to your family to make them jealous as much as they were there with you in the Canadian Rockies. After lunch, we are back up into our seats with those panoramic windows, again, listening to our hosts tell you the stories, and you really get to know your seatmates around you. As you can see in this picture, you're really experiencing this route with them, so keep that in mind. It really is a wonderful experience. Even if it's a longer day on the train, the time really flies by the time you're eating these meals, taking in the scenery, and spending the time listening to the stories from our hosts. One item I love to point out to people is this is our milepost. It's basically a newspaper that's going to be in the back of your seat. And this is going to have different mileposts along the way, so you'll know when all of the beautiful scenery are coming up. It's going to, again, have some historical facts about each route and just kind of have an itinerary of your day along with some interesting stories about the area as well. So your hosts are going to tell you lots of information, but you can also read it in our milepost in the back of your seat. And before you know it, you are into your overnight destination. Now, Rocky Mountaineer, we didn't say at the beginning, but we are a slow-moving, daylight-only rail experience. So you're not going to sleep on the train. That is probably my favorite fact about it. So no sleeper cars. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to show up in the station overnight. We are going to hand you a key card because you are already checked into your room. You're going to get on the motor coach, and we are going to bus you over to your hotel. At that point, you have time to go out to dinner, enjoy a nice, relaxing evening, and then go into your hotel. It's going to be a clean, comfortable hotel, because we want you to get a night's sleep, because most of the time it is going to be an early morning the next morning getting back on. So be prepared for that. There's not a lot of time in our overnight destinations at the midpoints, but you do have enough time to relax, have a nice dinner, and get a good night's sleep. Now, I did see one person ask a question earlier about the difference between our service levels, which are gold leaf service and silver leaf service. We're going to start with our gold leaf service. This is our signature service, and it is a bi-level dome coach offered in Canada. This is a nice picture to show you what those panoramic windows look like. So they are almost 180-degree view. There's just a strip about this top, much at the top, again, for some structural integrity and for some light when we go through some of the tunnels. You don't want it to be pitch black in there. But they're only places you see a little bar there. There are a few emergency exits because, again, safety is important. But other than that, they really are unobstructed views on the top of our gold leaf cars. When it's time for meals in Gold Leaf, you will move down to the lower floor. That is where the dining area is located at. And as you can see here, this is what the tables look like with, again, a nice large window beside them. I like to show this picture because if you are traveling as a party of two, you will be seated most likely with another couple. A few of our Gold Leaf cars do have tables just for two, but they are very few and far between. So more than likely you are going to be seated with somebody else. But don't worry, if you sit with somebody at breakfast that you really don't want to sit with again, you can just go sit with someone else at lunch. Nobody's feelings will be hurt. There's no assigned seats in our dining area. One of my favorite parts about the Gold Leaf car is our outdoor viewing platform. So right at the back of the car behind that dining area, this is our outdoor viewing platform, and it is a very big and wide open space, as you can see there. Just that safety rail to keep you from falling off the train, but it's going to be floor to ceiling open space so you can go out and get some fresh air, and again, take in all the scenery and take those pictures to make all of your family jealous. But again, remember to share them on Ted's Facebook page so that way you can make them jealous and they can come join you on your next journey. Now we move to our Silverleaf, and this is where things get a little different. Instead of the bi-level coach, this is going to be a single level dome. So let me show you what that looks like. So it is going to be, again, a big picture window, but as you can see kind of in the bottom left there, the window doesn't go all the way around the ceiling. It is going to be there, so you can still see all the sights, but it's just not quite as open and wide as on our Gold Leaf car. The other main difference is you are going to be served all of your drinks and food right there at your seat. So there's no separate dining area in our Silverleaf cars. This is what it's looked like. So all the food will be served right to you, but this next picture really shows it. Even though you are served in your seat and not in a different area, it is a very spacious area, as you can see here. So lots of room, and you're still able to take in the sights right there from your seat, and you won't miss anything as you move between areas. So that is one plus. Another thing that some people like more is, since it is a single level coach, you do have more headroom above your head. It's not cramped in Gold Leaf, but it's definitely not as open and spacious as it is in Silverleaf. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Silverleaf also has an outdoor viewing platform, and it's just not quite as open and large as the Gold Leaf area, as you can see there in the picture, but 2 people can easily fit in the viewing area. Still a great way to get some fresh air and to take those photos of the fantastic scenery. So now that we talked about our service levels, we're going to talk about our rail routes and where we travel. So we have 3 routes in Canada, as you can see there, which we'll go over in just a second, and we have our new route there at the bottom, our Rockies to the Red Rocks. So starting in Canada, our first route and our most popular route is actually our first passage to the west, and that's going to be between Vancouver and the Banff Lake Louise area with an overnight in Kamloops. So here's a little better idea of that. So again, daylight only, slow moving train. So you will have that overnight in Kamloops, and then you have the option of choosing Lake Louise, Banff, or both, depending on the package you pick for an end destination. A couple of the route highlights along there, you're going to see the Fraser River, where you travel along the first day to Kamloops quite a bit, and then you're going to pick that up on our other routes as well. But you also go by Lake Shuswap, just amazing views and amazing water, and then lots of rushing rapids as you go through, some chances for waterfalls, and Lake Shuswap is a giant lake that is also very beautiful. If you do decide to go on to Banff from Lake Louise, these are the Castle Mountains. Again, it's hard to justify how big they are, but as you can see, kind of in scale there, the train doesn't look very big as opposed to those mountains. So once you get to that Lake Louise and Banff area, when you're in the Canadian Rockies, the scenery just is grand, and you really get those wow moments as you travel along at the end of your journey. Our next route is our journey through the clouds. So this is going to be between Vancouver and Kamloops as well, but go up to Jasper. And really, if you're going to travel to Canada, I recommend everybody going to Jasper. It's another beautiful national park. We do have packages that still take you down to Banff and Lake Louise, so you're not going to miss out on that. But Jasper is a dark sky sanctuary, so anybody that's on the hunt for that small chance of seeing the northern lights, with us, your best chance is going to be in Jasper. So not guaranteed. Don't say that Shelby said I'm going to see your northern lights, because it's not guaranteed. But this year there were quite a few sightings, especially in August and September, of northern lights from Jasper. So it's a wonderful area, and I'll show you an itinerary later that has some other added options that'll really pique your interest in visiting Jasper. But here's again a couple of highlights for that journey through the clouds: the Pyramid Creek Falls. So again, when you're going by any of these the really great sightseeing areas like a waterfall, the train generally does slow down even slower. So you're gonna have plenty of times to take in that scenery and again snap those pictures to share with all your friends. Mount Robson in that picture, again, you can kind of look at the scale of the train and the mountain. It's just a beautiful sight to see, and it's the biggest mountain in that section of Canada. So giant mountain, especially most of the year you're going to see the snow-capped tops of it. So it's one of my favorite areas to travel through. Work for Rocky Mountaineer, I obviously love mountains, so anytime we're near some of those big peaks is when I really get excited along the route. I like to show this picture because another great thing about traveling with Rocky Mountaineer is most of the places that we travel you can only see from the rail route. So you really have a couple options. You can travel with us in Rocky Mountaineer in our Gold Leaf service, have that nice heated, comfortable seat, drink service, food, and the wonderful gourmet dining, or you could be a train conductor. So those are really your 2 choices between the 2. I think I know what I would choose, but we'll leave that up to you. Again, just breathtaking scenery along the route, and you can see it with us, and that's the best way to do it. And last but not least, in Canada, we have our Rainforest to the Gold Rush. So this is going to be currently our longest rail route. That's going to be 3 complete days. You're going to start in Vancouver, go up to Whistler, and then you're going to go to Quesnel before ending in Jasper, with again the option to go down to Banff and Lake Louise. So here are a couple of the highlights there. Again, we're going to be in the Howe Sound. There's that Fraser River that we talked about earlier. Lots of river opportunities where you're going to see lots of eagles and birds along the rivers and the lakes. So and just another picture of the Fraser River down there below. So lots of different breathtaking scenery. In some of these areas, you can even see some of the specks of gold in the hill, which is why we call it our Rainforest to the Gold Rush. Last picture for that journey, this is Mount Fitzwilliam. Again, pictures don't really do it justice, but a giant peak as you cross over from British Columbia into Alberta before getting into Jasper. If you really can't make up your mind, you say, well, Shelby, I kind of want to do multiple routes, or 2 days on the train, 3 days on the train doesn't sound like enough for me. We have what are called our circle journeys, and that's where you can combine any 2 of our Canadian routes, and that way you can have a round trip out of Vancouver or a round trip out of the Calgary airport, depending on which direction you want to travel. Here's a quick example of that. So if you flew into Vancouver, you would have 2 nights in Vancouver before heading up to Kamloops on our first passage to the west. You go over to Banff for 2 nights, and then you go up on that green dotted line is going to be a motor coach sightseeing transfer. And this is something that's included on any of our transfers between Jasper and Banff. And that's why I recommend going to Jasper, because you're going to go on the Columbia Icefield Parkway. This is a very scenic part of Canada. You can get up close with glaciers, and there's even an ice explorer, which I believe I have a picture coming up soon. That's basically like a giant monster truck motor coach. It's got monster truck tires on it, and it drives out on a glacier. And that's something you can experience by traveling with us on Rocky Mountaineer and going between Jasper and Banff. Now let's talk about our Canadian destinations. Of course, the train is magnificent. We love the train service, but some of the destinations and the cities are remarkable too. So we're going to start off with Vancouver, which is where our headquarters are and where our journeys either start or end. It's a wonderful city, one of my favorite cities on the planet, because again, I love the mountains, I love the water. In Vancouver, you get a mix of both, and you can really see both in almost any point from the city. Some of the highlights are Stanley Park. Lots to do in Stanley Park. You can rent an e-bike and ride along there. They've got a great seawall for walking and biking. And of course, you can take a nice trolley ride there on the back of some horses. Capilano Suspension Bridge Park is amazing. It's a suspension bridge that I think is 300 feet in the air. And then there's some different things you can do in the park, but just a great way to go out and experience nature when you're in Vancouver. And then, of course, Granville Island, a popular spot. They've got a market kind of like Pike's Market in Seattle, and great restaurants and bars and nightlife there as well that you can check out at the end of your long day. Next is Jasper, like I talked about, dark sky sanctuary, your chance to see those northern lights. And really in Jasper, you can go out and do hiking, you can go biking, or you can have a nice relaxing boat ride here on Malign Lake. So lots of options for you there. This is a nice relaxing way to do it. And here's a picture of those ice explorers that I talked about earlier. So when that transfer from Jasper down to Banff, this is a nice motor coach tour where you can actually get out and drive on Athabasca Glacier. So not many places in the world. I think somebody told me there's 25 of these snow coaches in the world, and I think Rocky Mountaineer uses Brewster, and Brewster owns 24 of them. So if you want to ride on something like this and drive on a glacier, Rocky Mountaineer and Brewster are the way to go. Now, I'm sure you've all seen this picture if you've ever thought about going to the Canadian Rockies. This, of course, is the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. And this is one of our destinations you can pick on any of our routes. So again, the wonderful hotel, you do have the option of choosing a room there, or you can obviously go visit. Another thing to do at Lake Louise is, of course, the Lake Agnes Tea House. Anybody that's into hiking, this is a 4-mile round trip hike. So you hike up 2 miles, you refresh yourself with a nice cup of tea and amazing views, and you hike right back down to Lake Louise. But I think the thing that everybody pictures when they think of Lake Louise is, of course, the beautiful lake with the mountains and glaciers in the background and the kayaks and canoes. So you can, again, as long as you're not there in the spring, because sometimes the lake is frozen over up until the first week of June, keep that in mind. You can go out and take a nice canoe trip right up to the base of a glacier on Lake Louise. Last but not least in Canada is Banff. Banff is probably my favorite destination that we go to. It's just a really beautiful alpine town, lots of shopping, lots of restaurants in downtown Banff. And there's quite a good view if you turn around and look down Main Street. Just breathtaking mountain peaks all around you. You can go up the Banff Gondola while you're in Banff as well. And then, you're going to be in Canada. People probably don't think to bring their bathing suits, but the Banff Hot Springs are a wonderful way to relax at the end of the day or after being on the train for a couple of days. So it is Canada. Do bring your bathing suit because you do want to experience the Banff Hot Springs. And last, we have Calgary. Calgary is going to be where you either start or end your destination, depending on the journey. Calgary is a great city. They have Stephen Ave in downtown with, again, lots of restaurants, shopping, and bars. And the Calgary Tower, there is a restaurant at the top that has a very extensive wine list. So again, a nice dinner, very nice wine list. That restaurant does rotate, but it rotates once a minute. So this isn't a thrill ride, a very slow rotation around the Calgary Tower there in downtown. Now we really get to the reason why all of you are here. These are the bucket list itinerary, the bucket list cities. These are our overnight midpoint destinations. And I really say that to joke with people because these towns really, again, like I talked about earlier, it's going to be about getting off the train because you're going to get there in the late afternoon or around dinner time. You're going to have time to eat some dinner, walk around, stretch your legs, and then get that good night's sleep before joining us the next day. So Kamloops really is a beautiful riverside town. It's Canada's sport tournament capital. So the hotels that are going to be there are going to be your Hampton Inns, your DoubleTrees, something like that. So you're not going to get a Fairmont in Kamloops, keep that in mind, but it is going to be a clean and comfortable hotel. Our next overnight stop is Whistler. You know, Whistler is a little nicer. Of course, anybody that's into skiing knows about Whistler. They had the Winter Olympics there a few years ago. So you will have a few nicer hotel options here. But again, you're not in town for a long time. You have enough time to walk around the nice alpine downtown, get a good night's sleep, and join us the next day. This is really the gem of them all. This is Quesnel, very small town. This is on our rainforest to the gold rush. The highlight that they told me is I believe there's a Walmart there now, so it kind of gives you an idea what this former mining town has. Very quaint, but a beautiful town. So again, get a nice rest and join us back on the train as we head to Jasper or come from Jasper the day before. Now, I'm sure you're all asking about wildlife in Canada. Along all our routes, you're going to see lots of eagles, lots of osprey, because again, we're near water most of the time. You do see quite a few of the deer and elk, and then you do have the chances to see a bear. You're not always going to see a bear, but your best chance is going to be near the national parks of Jasper and near Banff and Lake Louise. When to travel. So again, we're a daylight only operation. We travel between mid-April and mid-October in Canada. The spring is wonderful because the temperatures are cooler. The rivers are really rushing because of the snow melt. But like I said, if you want to go to Lake Louise and take that perfect picture and go canoeing, it could be frozen over till June. The summer is going to be your longest days, best temperatures, but those destinations can get crowded. They're very popular right now, so keep that in mind if you don't want to be surrounded by a lot of people. The fall is probably my favorite time to go. Once school starts, that September and into October, the temperatures are going to be a little cooler, but it's definitely less busy. You're going to start to see some leaves changing color. And if you're in the mountains, especially being from Florida, I'm from Florida, so I liked having the coat on, having a little brisker temperatures and experiencing the mountain towns. Now, I do want to talk about our newest route. This is Rockies to the Red Rocks, experiencing the American Southwest. I do have the video for that, so we're going to play it. I don't think the sound's going to work, but again, we'll share it after this. We can put it on the Facebook group, but it still shows some nice visuals of our route, so let's watch that now.
As you drift away from the lively city of Denver, the sun wakes the Colorado Rockies, and you begin your journey through landscapes that have been transformed over millennia. And it feels as though it was all created just for you. Roaming as you cut through 6 miles of hand-blasted rock in the historic Moffat Tunnel, where you cross the Continental Divide. Take it in majestic canyons, slowly carved away by the Colorado River on its long march to the Pacific Ocean. As you travel along tracks stitched into towering red canyons, indulge in world-class service from our glass dome coaches. Wind along endless, captivating canyon walls before arriving at the historic town of Glenwood Springs, famous for its geothermal amenities. Begin your day exploring the monumental Debec Canyon, part of Grand Mesa, the world's largest flat-top mountain. Then witness the glory of Mount Garfield, standing proudly at over 6,700 feet. It's sure to be a high point. The surreal beauty of the crimson-stained cliffs surrounds you, displaying millions of years of erosion as you cross Ruby Canyon. Finally, you approach Moab, as the red sandstone mountains that the American Southwest is so famous for come into view. This is your gateway to the mighty 5 national parks. From the Rockies to the Red Rocks, this ever-changing journey captures the unimaginable majesty of this unique place that's been a million years in the making.
All right, so very different from our Canadian route, but also just amazing on its own. So here is what the route map looks like. We are between Denver and Moab with an overnight in Glenwood Springs, which is just a beautiful mountain valley town with lots to do. And then, of course, we have a couple options for you where you can go up to Salt Lake City or you can go out to Las Vegas. That trip out to Las Vegas is actually going to be on a Mercedes Sprinter style van, so it's going to be a small group tour that's also going to include the other national parks in Utah. So right there in Moab, you have Arches and Canyonlands. If you take our Las Vegas extension, that's going to take you to Bryce Canyon, and then it's going to take you to Capitol Reef, and then it's going to go to Zion before ending up in Las Vegas. So lots of great options for you in our American Southwest route. We're going to walk through what that would look like if you started in Denver and went west. So Denver, of course, is the Mile High City. Lots to do there with shopping, dining. If you're into craft beer, there's a big craft brewery scene there, and of course, lots of amazing restaurants for you to take or for you to enjoy. Along the way, the video showed some of you, but the route highlights are you go around the Big Ten curve, which is a giant curve that's going to get the train started as you climb into the Rocky Mountains. You then go through Glenwood Canyon and Byers Canyon before getting to the Moffett Tunnel. And the Moffett Tunnel, as you can see here, we're going to be through a stretch of about 6 miles. So you're in complete darkness for about 12 minutes as you drive under and through this ginormous mountain. And this is where we go across the Continental Divide. So really need to go in the tunnel. It's a strange feeling to go from that complete daylight to that complete darkness of the tunnel, but thankfully we do have those lights along the top, so you're not tripping over yourself in the dark. When you get to that overnight spot, Glenwood Springs is a wonderful city like I talked about. Again, we have some geothermal hot springs, so there's a hot spring right next to the train station and one along the river a few minutes away. The picture there at the top is going to be Doc Holliday's Saloon. It's a great kind of dive bar, Old West saloon that really gets you in the feeling of the American Southwest, as long as you're not there on a Wednesday. For some reason, they close on a Wednesday. Of course, I've only ever been there on a Wednesday, but hopefully you're there on a different day and you get to experience Doc Holliday's Saloon there. But Glenwood Springs really is a great town, lots of great restaurants and just beautiful scenery for your overnight in Colorado. On the next day, heading towards Moab, you are going to see Mount Garfield that we saw there in the video. Beautiful pictures. Again, it's hard to see the scope of it, but it is very large. And then in the picture here, you can also see some vineyards. A lot of the wine we have on board comes from the vineyards right there that we drive past while on the train. Every once in a while, if the first day you guys might have indulged a little bit more than we expected, they do make a stop at the winery. They bring some more wine on board, and you might even have the option to do a wine tasting. So it doesn't happen every time, but it has happened on quite a few, just depending on who we have on the train the day before. This is one of my favorite parts along the route. This is Ruby Canyon. This is where you really start to see those red rocks, the big walls along the side of the Colorado River. And as you're going along the river starts to change colors with the rocks. So in Denver, it's, as you first see it, it's going to be more of that brownish color. And then as you get into the red rocks before and after Glenwood Springs, the river almost matches the color of the rocks. So just beautiful scenery as you travel along. And before you know it, you are into Moab, which is the gateway to the Utah's national parks. Like I said, Arches and Canyonlands right there. There are all kinds of activities to do in Moab. You can relax at our beautiful hotels, or you can go out and see the national parks, go biking, kayaking. You can go river rafting, you can go on an ATV. The options are really limitless because, again, the national parks there, it is a very active city. One of the cities that we talked about for flying out of, because Moab is almost impossible to fly out of, Salt Lake City. You will take that 3-hour motor coach tour up to Salt Lake City. And of course, in Salt Lake City, they have the beautiful Temple Square. Utah isn't all Mormon churches, but there are quite a few there in Salt Lake City. If those aren't quite your thing, when I was there, I rented a car from the airport and I drove up into the mountains there in Salt Lake City. They have a couple of beautiful scenic canyons called Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon. These are a few of the pictures from my trip. So again, if you want to get some more mountains while you're there, you can rent a car and drive up into the mountains. Easily just about 30 to 45 minutes out of downtown Salt Lake City. So easy to do. And then, of course, we showed the transfer that goes to Las Vegas. We actually don't book any hotels or activities in Las Vegas. We will drop you off in Las Vegas because, as you know, you can do whatever you'd like to do there. And honestly, we probably don't want to know what you do in Vegas. So what happens there stays there. We'll get you there and you can figure out what to do while you're there. Our wildlife highlights. So you do have the chance to see, again, quite a few wild horses. You're going to see some of the pronghorn sheep there. But the most you're going to see birds everywhere. Again, we're along the Colorado River, multiple eagles nests, multiple osprey nests, some of them which have been there for 50 or 60 years. Your hosts are going to know where they are, just massive nests along the river in the trees, and they will point those all out to you. We talk about when to travel in the United States. Again, we are April to October in the United States as well for those daylight hours at this point. The spring and fall are going to be the most popular in the US because the temperatures aren't quite as hot. So that's going to be your best time to travel. Again, in the spring, you'll have the chance to see some wildlife. The fall is going to be the most popular because, again, people want to see a little bit of changing leaves and it's not hot. Summer is going to be your best price point. You're going to save a little bit of money because, again, it's just not as popular for us because in Moab, it's over 110 degrees almost every day. So if heat is your thing, that could be for you. I know I went in August and it was hot. We did some morning tours, but by about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, you were ready to go back to the hotel and jump in the pool. So in the summertime might be good. If you're not an active person, you can just lounge by the pool and relax that way. But if you want to get out and be active, I would recommend the spring or the fall. The one thing we do change that's different on our American route is our Silverleaf Plus. So in Canada, we have our Gold Leaf and Silverleaf. The unfortunate thing is in America, the Gold Leaf cars are about this much too tall for the tunnels. I don't think anybody wants a convertible rail car. So what we did to change that is we added Silverleaf Plus. This is going to give you your same Silverleaf car that you have in Canada, but it's going to add 2 lounge cars you can see here in the picture. There's some couches, there's some chairs, there's even a piano. So they're on the busier times of year, we'll have a piano player playing there if you'd like to sit there and listen to the piano. And of course, we talked about the food and drinks earlier. If you'd like to indulge in an adult cocktail, right there we have a bartender. They can also make you mocktails. They can give you a soda, make anything you like there. And they also, will tell you some stories as they travel along. My favorite thing about the lounge cars, your train managers will be walking through. Every train has a train manager and a guest service manager. This is one of our train managers, Chris, in the United States. He is filled with stories and he will entertain you the entire time. So hanging out in the lounge cars, I would definitely look for them as they walk through, start a conversation with them, and you will definitely be entertained along the route. Now we're going to talk about promotions. We learned a little bit about the product today, but let's talk about how we can save you some money. So right now we have a featured package promotion. This is going to be on 2 of our routes. You can save up to $780 on our Journey Through the Clouds westbound. So that would be flying into Calgary and ending up in Vancouver. And then we can save $1,000 on our Rockies to the Red Rocks return. As we talked about, it's hard to get out of Moab. So if you want to fly into Denver, take the train over for 2 days, you can then stay on the train stay in Moab for 3 days before taking the train back to Denver. So time to relax, time to be as active or inactive as you'd like in Moab before returning to Denver for that easy flight back to wherever you are from. If you've traveled with us before, first of all, thank you. But if you'd like to come back, we do have an offer for you. So anybody that's traveled before, you can save $390 per couple on our Canadian routes and up to $400 on our US routes. So keep that in mind if you traveled with us before. And last, but certainly not least, if you are a military member, either active or former, first of all, thank you for your service. We greatly appreciate you. But second, we're going to add $100 more per person because we like you that much. So again, all these offers you see in market are going to be combinable. Lots of great ways to save money with Rocky Mountaineer. And again, thank you for your service if you are a former military member. So talking about our product, we win lots of awards year after year. We are very proud of our product. These are just some of the awards that we won in 2022. Some big names you can see like the Travi Awards, Condé Nast, the World Traveler Award. So year after year, we win a lot of rail categories. We are very proud of it. And apparently the guests are too, because again, our guest feedback has been fantastic and everybody votes for us on these awards. So again, if you've traveled with us before and you've voted, thank you so much. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Again, thank you for joining us. Hopefully when you're there, you'll see a nice grizzly bear wave at you. And I do want to thank you and thank Ted for for being here. Again, go to Ted's Facebook page. You can go to cruisinwithted.com. Here's his email address and contact information for when you guys want to talk more about Rocky Mountaineer. So Ted, I think I'll turn it back to you to see if we have any questions to answer.
Thank you so much. One of the things we love about Rocky Mountaineer is the flexibility and the service. They offer so many different combinations. I've never seen anything like it. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Any of the girls or guys that work with me, I have some travel agents that are part of Cruisin with Ted. Do you want to see if there's any other questions or do you guys have any questions yourself? Go ahead and voice those now, or you see anything else that we didn't cover? Go ahead, take it away, guys. And I'm going to get my slides ready.
Shelby, somebody did ask the difference of gold and silver, which I think you pretty much touched. There was a question, are there any trips from Vancouver to Nova Scotia?
There are not. So we just operate the Canadian Rockies. Again, since we're a daylight, slow-moving train, once you get past the Banff and the Canadian Rockies, there's not a lot, especially with those overnight hotels. You know, we don't have a sleeper car, so that really makes it tough. There are other products you could combine with us once you get to that area, but unfortunately, we don't travel past the Banff Lake Louise area.
Okay. Are there any shuttles that run from the Fairmont in Vancouver down to the train?
Yes. So anytime you're staying at, especially if you book a package with us, anytime you're at our hotels, we are going to come pick you up in the morning from that hotel. So you're never going to have to worry about a transfer. Even if you book something that's an FIT package where you're doing the rail only with us, as long as you let us know where the hotel is and it's within our area, we will come pick you up there as well. So great question.
And another question from Heather McIntosh, are dietary allergies, etc., catered to on the train?
Yes, great question. I took that slide out because 30 minutes is tough for our product, but if there's not any allergy or dietary restriction you have, just let us know. The only thing that we can't really cater to is a kosher diet for obvious reasons, but anything else, as long as you let us know ahead of time, we can do it. I just traveled with one of my colleagues and she was gluten-free, and the train staff was really good about knowing it. Anytime there was a meal, they brought her a gluten-free option. They'd bring her a gluten-free muffin. So as long as when you book, you tell your travel agent, they will let us know and we will accommodate that request for you.
Anything else?
Should we make dinner reservations in Kamloops, or are there plenty of restaurants there?
In Kamloops, there really are quite a few, and even most of the hotels we're staying at either have a restaurant attached or next to it. And I wouldn't make reservations just because we never know exactly what time we're going to come in. Most of the time, it is going to be that about 6 o'clock, but there are times where you can have a delay on the route. And it happens every once in a while. It's not all the time, but that way you might miss your reservation. So I wouldn't worry about it. There's always somewhere to eat there. In worst case, you can take a cab downtown to one of the other hotels, but there's lots of dining options around.
Okay. If there's any other questions, just add them on and we can always answer them later and email you.
Well, I know we talked about dietary restrictions. I always like to talk about mobility as well, because again, I normally have that in my longer presentation. So anybody with mobility restrictions, we do have a lift that can get you on and off the train. So even if you're not in a wheelchair, even if you just have a hard time with steps, we do have a lift that can get you up to the Silverleaf or Gold Leaf car. And then since the Gold Leaf car is bi-level, there's a circular staircase. So if you can't do that, there's also a lift inside of the Gold Leaf car that can take you up and down.
Good.
So yeah, we're able to accommodate almost anything. The only thing that's tough is if somebody's bound to a wheelchair in Gold Leaf. The aisles are pretty narrow, so if they can't transfer out of a wheelchair, they would have to take Silverleaf. But other than that, if they're able to transfer, they can also, enjoy a Gold Leaf service.
Good information there.
Yeah, it normally comes up as a question, and again, it's just it's tough to squeeze everything into 30 minutes.
That seems to be most of the questions for now, Ted and Shelby.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
All right, that's Mary Pat. She's one of our top agents. You can reach her at marypat@cruisinwithted.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted to go over a couple details with you, Shelby. And if you already covered this, please excuse me. I was while you were speaking, I was still putting some of my slides together. So
not a problem.
Trying to get everything ready. Okay, so I've personally worked with you for a couple decades now. We've had many guests that have gone on your train rides and love it to death. Here's a couple things that I don't know if we stress enough. One of the things is a lot of the people watching today may have cruises and you may have touched on a bit how to combine it with the cruise. I know Viking, some of the other cruise lines do actually include or have an ability to include it as part of their package. Tell us a little bit more about how that would work. Let's say if you're going on an Alaska cruise or something appropriate, how do you package that in? How does that work if you're doing with a cruise?
Yeah, that is a great question, a great idea, and that's something that we've really started pushing with a lot of our cruise line partners. So if you are going to Alaska, out of Vancouver especially, the Rocky Mountaineer is a great way to really make that the ultimate Alaska vacation, because even if you've done Alaska before or it's your first time, you can fly into Calgary, you can choose one of our rail routes. It's going to drop you off right there in Vancouver. Obviously, your cruise ship will leave there from Vancouver, and a lot of our hotels, especially with Gold Leaf, are right there on the waterfront in Vancouver, so you're already going to be in the perfect hotel, ready to jump on that ship. I know a lot of our cruise partners like Silversea, Regent, Oceana, and Viking. A lot of them do have packages where you can book us or you can book them separately because you do end up right in the same hotels and the waterfront. So it really is a great way to make that ultimate Alaska trip. If you've done it before or if it's your first time, you can see the Canadian Rockies, you can go up to Alaska, and then obviously you can go to different things in Alaska with your cruise line, but highly recommend it as an option to make that ultimate vacation.
Excellent, excellent. Here's another thing that I don't know if you've touched on enough, but here's one of the thing about Rocky Mountaineer. If you're going on one of these train services, of course, it's first started out with Canada, but now we include some of the venues in the United States. And you mentioned you have some expansion levels as well for the U.S. routes. You talked about that, right?
You probably will see. So right now we do just have the 3 routes in Canada and the 1 in the US. Canada is kind of maxed out. We've been there for 30 years, not much other places to go. But the US, you're going to see some expansion, especially in the American Southwest. So they haven't told us exactly what it is, but you'll probably hear some things coming out very soon, if worst case be next year. And then some other areas in the United States you'll probably see in the next 5 or so years. So if you've done Canada, if you're looking for some other options in the United States, definitely keep Rocky Mountaineer on the top of your mind, because you'll be seeing a lot more of us in the near future.
Or perhaps like into the new year, there might be.
Yeah, you'll definitely see some announcements really soon on the American Southwest expansion, and then down the line you'll see some other expansion as well.
Okay, and here's the reason why I bring this up. So when you're going on the Rocky Mountaineer, first of all, I don't know if you cover this. The logistics of it are as follows. If you're going on the train, you take your luggage. Not on the train, but your luggage follows you. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I do normally cover that again. Just I cut out the wrong thing. But yeah, so that's the way it's gonna work. So you're gonna show up at that first hotel. We're gonna greet you. We're gonna take that bag. The only thing you're gonna take on the train with you is just a little day pack for anything you might need, like medication, your camera, and those kind of things. We talked about how you're already checked in your hotel when you get to that midpoint destination. So we give you that key card, you go out to dinner, you go to your hotel room, and that bag is waiting for you in that room. So basically we race it ahead of you on the highway. The bag's waiting there for you. The next morning you put on what you'd like to wear. You put your bag there inside your room, and we come and get the bag and then take it to the next destination. So I'm glad you asked that, Ted. Yeah, you're not schlepping your luggage all around. It's going to be handled by us. You're only handling it there in your hotel rooms.
And that's, you handle that, right, Shelby? I think you're on a motorcycle and you got all these things strapped.
Oh yeah, if you've ever seen one of those carts you can put behind, you put your dog or your kids in it. We put the suitcases in there, and I enjoy my summers taking your bags everywhere.
No, but you actually, people don't realize this. You don't have to touch your bags. You go off the train. You don't sleep on the train. You go into your nice hotel. They have different levels of hotels, different levels of service in terms of inclusion. So there's a lot of options. The other thing they do include is they include pre and post things. Like if you're going out of Vancouver, you can go to Whistler, or you can go to places in Vancouver. All kinds of little packages that all can be arranged. So if you're going to on Journey Through the Clouds, where does that start and end? Help me out, Shelby. Journey Through the Clouds.
It's Vancouver to Jasper.
Right. So Vancouver to Jasper. So after Jasper, then you can rent a car, and you can take one of the most amazing. It's listed in National Geographic as one of the top 100 places, scenic drives in the world. Right. And then they can even give you more hotels. So you get off the train, you get on your rented car, which they provide. They provide some hotels you can stay at, and at the end you can drop off your car. Am I not right? Do you still have that?
The rental car option may not still be there, but there's definitely the transfer that we do, which I talked about, that Columbia Icefields Parkway. That is, like Ted said, that's one of the most beautiful drives in the world. Definitely recommend going to Jasper and experiencing that parkway. And I'd have to check in on the rental car because I don't know if I saw it last time I looked.
Well, maybe even if they don't have the rental car service, this is something that Cruisin with Ted knows how to do. We've helped guests with this. You can go on helicopter tours. We can add this all to your package. So if they can't provide it, Cruisin with Ted can. These are some of our extra services we provide. Logistics, we take care of so you get there safely. Reasonable costs, whether it be by train, rail, drive there. We also offer extra perks with hotels. So before or after your travel, or if you're doing part of a cruise, we offer the convenient hotels with extra perks such as free overnights, free breakfast, and so forth. We also can offer customized tours in addition to what your company offers. So we combine that, we augment what you provide. Travel insurance, we also experts on travel insurance. We offer insider deals on savings. You may not be aware of it. Cabin credits is, of course, mainly for cruises. Private hosting more for cruises. Onboard services, we actually partner with special needs group, and we can get you wheelchair or scooter. We're experts on that as well. So that's some of the stuff we do. You saw our information there that you can scan that right there and go to cruisinwithted.com and see the world through new eyes. That's what we talk about, right? Truly moving train journeys with and then we have a Facebook page called Cruisin with Ted. You can scan that right there. But just look for Cruisin with Ted. We have a Facebook page. Did you know we have over 30 Facebook groups with over 80,000 followers, of which the Rocky Mountaineer is one of them. So it's called Rocky Mountaineer Train Journeys. Please go to our Facebook page. Look for Rocky Mountaineer Train Journeys. And it has 1,500 people. By the end of the year, we'll have 2,000. Extremely popular. So go to our Facebook page. We even have a YouTube channel. So we're going to post the video recording of this on the Rocky Mountaineer Facebook page and on our Facebook YouTube channel, Cruisin with Ted, of course. So there you can scan that, go there and subscribe. We do offer exclusive we have exclusive offers of all types of travel. Not only do Rocky Mountaineer, but we do other types of land tours, cruises, all the luxury cruise lines. We do small ship ocean, river cruises, expedition cruises, you name it, African safaris. We also offer our own private shore excursions. So we give you discounts on shore excursions. So, obviously you're going to have this itself has its own type of excursions and things to do, but you can augment that. For example, some of your travels, our travel, Shelby, doesn't include Las Vegas, even in places like in the U.S. What are some of the places that you can even travel from?
Yeah, absolutely. On that American route, it's between Denver and Moab, but we do have those extensions to Salt Lake City and Las Vegas, and more coming soon that we talked about. But a great way would be to work with Ted, because like I said, in Las Vegas, we drop you off there and we don't handle it. You can do whatever you want, and we're just gonna forget about it and turn around and go back the other way. So for all your Las Vegas options, this would be a great way to book those extras with Ted.
Yeah, so if you're in Vancouver, Las Vegas, you want to take that helicopter tour and go over the Grand Canyon and such, we can arrange that for you. And this is our shore excursions page where you can go on there and put in your information. Particularly if you're on a cruise, this is more oriented toward cruising. You can put in the cruise you're on, and it'll show you all the different excursions, things that are available for that. I'm not sure if it works with Rocky Mountaineer, but you can certainly use our search engine and find all the excursions that apply to that. We have excellent reviews on our Facebook page. Ted is really customer service personified. I've booked a couple of cruises of my own.
And it is. At the top, there's a place that you can click on destination, and that is where you would be able to join in with Rocky Mountaineer. So you could click your destination, choose your country, city, and then you can say, here's things to do in Vegas, here's things to do in Salt Lake, here's things to do before you get on the train in Denver. You can add your tours in that place. So.
Oh, okay, thanks. I just highlighted that there. I went to the page, okay? So, and then you can, but in general, that's our information there. And I just wanted to thank you for participating today, for watching our Zoom event. Like I say, go to our Rocky Mountaineer Train Journeys Facebook page. If you're not a member, become a member. Go to Cruisin with Ted. Look for our videos there, and also on our YouTube channel, which is aptly called Cruisin with Ted. Again, I'd like to thank you for attending today. I'd like to thank all of our agents who are standing by to service your needs for any type of travel, whatever it is. They're really well versed. And Mr. Gerst, did you want to add or say anything before we sign out?
Sure. Once again, guys, just thanks so much for joining us today. Like Ted said, make sure to join that Facebook group. He can share all kinds of content about Rocky Mountaineer, and hopefully we'll see you on board one day. So thank you again, and maybe we'll speak again soon.
Okay, thank you so much, and you have a great day, and keep traveling the world, okay? And reach out to us whenever you need help. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and scan the QR code here to receive special offers, news, and promotions. Scan the QR code to learn more about the Rocky Mountaineer. Visit Ted's one-stop travel website for all your travel needs at cruisingwithted.com. Join Ted's Facebook group at Rocky Mountaineer Train Journeys. And don't forget, click to subscribe to Cruising with Ted's YouTube channel.